there is a part of you that you refuse to see. Not because it doesn't exist, but because looking at it feels too dangerous. You've spent years, maybe decades, carefully constructing who you think you should be. The good person, the rational one, the one who has it all together. But Carl Jung understood something that most people spend their entire lives running from. Everything you reject about yourself doesn't disappear. It grows stronger in the dark. And that darkness? Jung called it the shadow. Today, we're going to do something most people avoid their entire lives. We're going to turn on the lights. We're going to face what you've been hiding from yourself. Because the shadow doesn't just hold your shame, it holds your power, your creativity, your unlived life. This isn't just theory. This is the map to reclaiming the parts of yourself you abandoned. Jung understood that we all operate through something he called a conscious attitude. Think of it as your psychological operating system. It's made up of your values, beliefs, your personality type, how you were raised, what you've learned to prioritize. This isn't random. Your conscious attitude is how you filter every single experience. It's what you use to decide what's acceptable and what's not, what's you and what's not you. And here's the trap. The more rigid your conscious attitude becomes, the larger your shadow grows. If you're someone who values strength and independence above all else, you'll exile vulnerability. If you pride yourself on being spiritual and peaceful, you'll reject your aggression and worldly ambition. Your conscious mind is always selecting, directing, excluding, and everything that doesn't make the cut. It doesn't vanish, it goes underground, it becomes unconscious. This is where most people make their first mistake. They think if they can't see it, it's not affecting them. But Jung knew better. He said the relationship between conscious and unconscious is compensatory, meaning they balance each other out. The more you push something down, the more powerfully it pushes back. Have you ever had a moment where you shocked yourself? You snapped at someone you love. You said something cruel you didn't mean. You felt a wave of jealousy or rage that felt completely foreign. And afterwards you thought, that wasn't me. I don't know what came over me. Jung would tell you, that was you, the part you've been refusing to meet. He called these complexes, autonomous fragments of your mind that split off because they couldn't fit into your conscious identity. Autonomous means they operate on their own, without your control. Complexes are like puppet masters. They operate in the dark, pulling your strings, making you say things, do things, feel things that your conscious mind doesn't understand. Think of Bruce Banner and the Hulk. Banner is timid, controlled, intellectual. So what happens to all that suppressed emotion and rage? It doesn't disappear. It becomes the Hulk, this massive, uncontrollable force. Your complexes work the same way. Maybe you have an inferiority complex. There's this voice in your head constantly telling you you're not enough, you'll never succeed, you don't deserve good things. And this voice is so convincing that you sabotage every opportunity before it even begins. Or maybe you have a superiority complex, where you secretly need to feel better than everyone else just to feel okay about yourself. These aren't just thoughts, they're autonomous personalities living inside you, driving your behavior without your permission. And you won't be free until you meet them face to face. Let me give you the clearest signs that your shadow is in control. Overreactions. When someone says something mild and you feel completely triggered. That's not about them, that's your complex speaking. Repeating patterns. You keep attracting the same toxic relationships, the same financial disasters, the same self-sabotage. That's your shadow orchestrating from behind the curtain. Projection. You see everyone else as the problem. They're all narcissists, or weak, or too emotional, or too cold. When everyone around you seems to have the same flaw, look closer. You're seeing your own shadow reflected back. Compulsions. The behaviors you can't stop even though they're destroying you. The scrolling, the drinking, the workaholism, the people-pleasing. These aren't just bad habits, they're your shadow's desperate attempt to be seen. Jung said it perfectly. We know that the mask of the unconscious is not rigid, it reflects the face we turn towards it. Hostility lends it a threatening aspect, friendliness softens its features. The shadow isn't your enemy, your judgment of it is. Here's what almost no one tells you about shadow work. The hardest thing to accept isn't your darkness. It's your light. This is what Jung called the golden shadow. All the talents, gifts, intelligence, and power you've disowned because accepting them felt too dangerous. Maybe you had a gift for music, but you buried it because it wasn't practical. Maybe you're capable of leading, but you play small because you're terrified of being seen. Maybe you're brilliant, creative, magnetic, but you've convinced yourself you're ordinary because shining felt like a threat to your survival. The golden shadow is the life you didn't live because you were too afraid to claim it. And until you face this, you'll keep admiring these qualities in everyone else. You'll put people on pedestals, you'll think they have something you don't. But Jung would tell you, if you can see it in them, the seed of it exists in you. The question is, are you brave enough to water it? Everything unconscious is first encountered as projection. This means, before you can own your shadow, you'll see it everywhere else. That person who annoys you? They're probably showing you something you refuse to acknowledge in yourself. That person you idealize? They're carrying a quality you've disowned. Jung was relentless about this. He said we don't see people as they are, we see them through the lens of our complexes. If you have a victim mentality, you'll unconsciously find perpetrators everywhere. If you fear abandonment, you'll attract emotionally unavailable people, or you'll sabotage intimacy the moment it gets real. If you judge yourself as weak, you'll either despise weakness in others or worship strength to an unhealthy degree. Here's how you know it's projection. You see someone as all good or all bad. You reduce them to one trait: narcissist, saint, genius, loser. You change your behavior around them. Their opinion matters more than your own. You feel compelled toward them or repulsed in extreme ways. When you can see someone as a complex, flawed, complete human being, not a hero or a villain, you've withdrawn the projection. And in that moment, you get the energy back. You stop giving your power away. Now we get to the part that separates real transformation from intellectual entertainment. Shadow work is not journaling prompts. It's not affirmations. It's not just loving yourself. Those things might help you start, but they will never finish the job. Jung united two perspectives here. First, you need to understand the cause. Why did you repress this part of yourself? What happened in your past? But that's only half the equation. The second part is about purpose. What is the purpose of this symptom now? What are you trying to avoid by keeping this shadow unconscious? Most people use their wounds as excuses. I can't be successful because I have an inferiority complex. I can't have healthy relationships because I was abandoned as a child. Jung would say, yes, that's true, and what are you going to do about it now? Because insight without action is just another hiding place. You can spend years in therapy talking about your childhood. You can read every book. You can understand your complexes perfectly. But if your life doesn't change, if you don't take concrete action, you haven't integrated anything. Integration happens through what Jung called ethical obligation, turning your insights into real-world actions and changes. If you realize you've been hiding your creativity, you don't need more analysis, you need to create. If you discover you've been people-pleasing your whole life, you don't need more journaling, you need to start saying no. If you've buried your ambition, you need to take one risky step toward what you actually want. The shadow is integrated through lived experience, not understanding. So how do you actually do this? Step 1. Study your conscious attitude. Get brutally honest. What are your core values? What do you pride yourself on? What would you never want to be? Write it down, because whatever you've decided you're not, that's where your shadow lives. Step 2. Track your emotional reactions. For the next week, notice every time you feel triggered, every time someone annoys you intensely, every time you feel superior or inferior. Don't judge it, just observe. These reactions are breadcrumbs leading you to your complexes. Step 3. investigate your projections. Who do you admire? Who do you despise? What qualities do they have? Now ask, where does this quality exist in me, even in seed form? This will hurt. You'll want to resist, but stay with it. Step 4. Dialogue with the shadow. Jung used a technique called active imagination. Sit quietly. Visualize the part of yourself you've rejected. Give it a voice. Ask it questions. Why are you here? What do you need? What happens if I keep ignoring you? Listen. Don't control the answers. Let the images and words come. Step 5. Give it expression. This is where everything changes. If your shadow holds anger, find a healthy way to express boundaries. If it holds creativity, make time to create, even badly. If it holds ambition, take one small risk toward your real goals. The shadow is integrated by being lived, not analyzed. Let me share something vulnerable. For years, I avoided writing. I told myself I wasn't a writer. I had every excuse. Then during active imagination, I kept seeing the same image. A sword being handed to me. I was being called to wield it. I realized the sword represented the logos, the word, truth, clarity. My soul was calling me to write, and I was terrified. But I made a choice. I rearranged my entire life. I changed my schedule, my habits, my business. I devoted myself to writing. And here we are. That is shadow integration. It's not a thought exercise. It's a complete reorganization of your life in service of what's been calling you from the dark. The question is, what sword is being handed to you? And will you have the courage to take it? Jung said something that still gives me chills. There is no coming to consciousness without pain. The shadow will not be integrated comfortably. It will demand that you sacrifice who you thought you were for who you actually are. It will ask you to admit you've been wrong, to see how you've hurt people, to face your mediocrity, your cowardice, your unlived greatness. But on the other side of this work is freedom. Freedom from compulsion, from repeating the same patterns, from being controlled by invisible forces. You become whole. Not perfect, whole. And when you're whole, you stop projecting. You stop needing others to complete you. You stop running from yourself. You finally come home. So I'll leave you with this. What part of yourself have you been keeping in the dark? What would happen if you finally turned on the lights? Don't just think about it. Do something about it. Today. One small action. Because the shadow isn't waiting for you to be ready. It's waiting for you to be brave. Thank you for staying until the end. If this resonated, subscribe. We're building something real here. And tell me in the comments, what's one quality you've been projecting onto others that you're ready to reclaim? Your honesty might be exactly what someone else needs to hear.